This episode of ACMG Presents Talk Time Live is brought to you in part by Viewfinder's Identity Search and Design. Your choice for web design, graphic design, and all multimedia development needs. Visit VFISAD.com and let us bring your vision to reality.
This is Morgan Berry, the voice of 13 from My Hero Academia. You're listening to ACMG Presents Talk Time Live.
It's time. Talk time. Let's go. Anime, comics, movies, and games. Come on and let's get it. Talk time. Anime, comics, movies, and games. Come on and let's get it. Talk time. Anime, comics, movies, and games. Come on and let's get it. Talk time. Anime, comics, movies, and games. Come on and let's get it. Talk time. Live. Started in the 80s with Matt Cross. Dudes in the hood might have called that soft, but I carried that cross like Jesus did. Fast forward, I teach the kids to learn how to let go, live life, and show love to all things that don't matter where y'all from. And luckily, there's a show called Talk Time. We've been waiting for this for a long time. Dax kicks the facts on all the geek news, special guests and unbiased reviews. Suburban kids, the hipster street dudes, all can learn something new. Me too. I heard words when no faith is empty. I stayed the course, so my haters tempt me. Beat the podcast, that'll make them envy. It ain't too trendy, it's ACMG. Anime, comics, movies, and games. Come on and let's get it. Talk time. Anime, comics, movies, and games. Come on and let's get it. Talk time. Anime, comics, movies, and games. Come on and let's get it. Talk time. Anime, comics, movies, and games. Come on and let's get it. Talk time live.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the journal of my life that covers all things anime, comics, movies, and games. This is ACMG Presents Talk Time Live, the Prime Show. I am your host, Xavier Josiah. Hope everybody had a great weekend and looking forward to a great week, as great as we can make it during these times. But hopefully this show will help you out. We got a lot of explosive news to talk about. When I say explosive, I mean game-changing explosive. Involving HBO Max. They have come hard. They stepped it up. They're putting people on blast. And we're going to talk about that, plus some more news going on there. And in our talk topic today, we're going to talk Mulan. Yeah, I got a chance to see that movie. I checked it out. As you guys remember, Disney Plus decided to put this on their streaming network due to the current situation with COVID. You couldn't go in theaters to watch it safely and comfortably, so they put it on their streaming networks. They decided to do a new thing as well at the time, and they streamed it as a premium for people who wanted to watch it. They were going to charge you $30 to watch it. Fair, considering that, that's as much as you would have paid in a movie theater. And actually, they're still getting paid less because, if you got a family full of people, that's $30 per person. Probably, you divide it to the amount of people that's there. But you're also taking away theater money, like concession and all that stuff right there. So, I mean, it's fair at best, but they charged that amount. But they also said that they will release it during the beginning of December for everybody to see who subscribed to the streaming network. And they have done just that. So I was like, why not? I've seen the other live action versions of their animated movies and decided to check this out. So we're going to talk about that. And there's a lot to talk about with this too as well. This is very, 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 very interesting movie that they made here. So that will be our talk topic today. But look, I don't want to waste any more time here. We got to get down to this news because this news is major. So let's not waste any time, folks. Let's find out what's new in the world of ACMG.
And now, it's time to find out what's new in the world of ACMG.
All right, so to start it all off, I talked about explosive news. Like, this is game-changer stuff here in terms of the streaming network war that's going on right now. Like, Netflix has been going hard for quite some time. They've been acknowledged, including myself, as the new HBO. Like, Netflix has become that for the longest time. They have brought out a bunch of content that we normally would see from HBO, but from a streaming network, standpoint. HBO don't like to hear that, and they wanted to remind people that they are HBO, apparently. And this, what they've done, and let's add on Disney Plus too, because Disney Plus came out with a strong amount of content and features that rivals Netflix as well. And they're in the competition as well. So it's like a 3-man, triple threat match here. What HBO has done is nothing short of game changing, especially during these times of COVID when we can't go out in theaters safely and comfortably, like I mentioned. They just decided to go balls to the wall with all these upcoming movies that are coming out, these Warner Brother movies that are coming out. As you know, Wonder Woman is actually coming out in Christmas. And I thought that was just going to be a one-time deal, that they were going to actually have, an actual blockbuster movie come out during the same day as it is on the theaters. Well, ladies and gentlemen, if you don't know by now, which a lot of people do, but in case you have been living under a rock, they made some huge news here. HBO decision to premiere upcoming Warner Brothers movies, both in theaters and in their streaming networks. This is not just Wonder Woman. Not just Wonder Woman 84. The following movies have been announced with release dates. Let me run it down to you because this is huge. This is absolutely huge here. There's a trailer out if you haven't seen it, and it shows all the movies that they're going to be premiering. It's crazy. Let's start with, for instance, Mortal Kombat, which, first of all, we knew was coming out. We didn't have an actual date. We knew this was coming out. Nobody has actually seen a trailer to this yet. They announced, according to the Decider, this movie's coming out January 15th, 2021, next month. And in fact, even more significant from this standpoint here, that's the day after my birthday. That technically also is Martin Luther King's birthday as well. Not technically, it is. But it's coming out the day after my birthday, and what a gift. Like, normally there's a really cool big-time game that's coming out in January. Well, all right, not big-time game, but big, because Jump Force turned out not to be that big, but there's usually a major game that's coming out in January, mostly from Bandai Namco, which is interesting. But this is huge. We've been waiting to see a reboot of the Mortal Kombat movie that's been said to be coming out January 15th, 2021. My goodness, this is awesome. Stars Jessica McNamee. I'm going to butcher this. Tadanobu Asano and Hideyoki Sanada. And this is directed by Simon McCoy. This is supposed to be an actual reboot of the movie, and the fact that it's coming out this early with has anybody seen the trailer of this yet? The only thing that we watched and seen, we've seen some of the actors. We've seen some of the people involved. My man from who plays James Olsen on Supergirl is going to be Jax in this movie. This is crazy. Like, the only thing we saw was some stars in on set, and then followed by the actual logo. We haven't seen nothing else from this point. So I am excited. I'm more excited than I am pessimistic here. I truly am just. I've been waiting to see this for quite some time. So that's coming out on January. Another movie called The Little Thing, starring Denzel Washington, Rami Malek, and Jared Leto, is coming out as well. A new Tom and Jerry animated movie is coming out. I'm actually excited for that. It's coming in March. We got a movie called The Many Saints of Newark that is coming out. Movie starring Ray Liotta and John Bernthal, a.k.a. The Punisher, is going to be in that. Reminiscence, Hugh Jackman is going to be in there. Some sort of sci-fi drama. You got Godzilla vs. Kong coming out in May. You got The Conjuring, The Devil Made Me Do It. There's a horror flick I probably won't be watching. A movie called In the Heights. Space Jam, A New Legacy is coming, with LeBron James, Don Cheadle, and many others in there. That's going to be in there. That's coming in July. Suicide Squad. We're getting Suicide Squad in the comfort of our own home. That's awesome. Dude, I know there's hardcore Dune fans from back in the day that's going to love this. That's coming out in October. That's going to be at home or in theaters, wherever you want to see it. Elvis, starring Tom Hanks and Austin Butler, is coming out. Yeah, that's coming out. King Richard is also coming out in November. Matrix 4 is coming out December. We're going to get to watch the follow-up to one of the best how can I say this? Non-licensed franchise, I guess you could say, based on a fanfare that ever come out. Like Matrix was the last original concept to ever come out that ever made it big. Like, think about that. Really, really think about that, Derek. Because after that, it's only been comic movies based on comic books or animated shows or video games. Matrix 4 was the only original sci-fi concept that ever came out that became a major deal. And it was the game changer that really brought on a lot of these innovative things that we're seeing today. So that's coming out December 22nd. Of course, Keanu Reeves, Karen Ann Moss, Jada Pinkett Smith, possibly, the other cast as well will be a part of that too. So, I mean, I'm looking forward to this. Judas and the Black Messiah to be announced. Magdalene movie is going to be called that is going to be to be announced. Is coming out as well. To be announced there. And Those Who Wish Me Dead to be announced. So there's a lot of movies. There's how many is this? How many did I just count here? 4, 8, 12, 16 movies for Warner Brothers, and these are big multi-million-dollar budgeted films that have come out. This is just quite insane here. How can anybody top this? How can anybody top this right now? I've never seen anything this ambitious since Marvel decided to create the Marvel Cinematic Universe and focus on making the Infinity Gauntlet. This is that kind of big in a sense. Now, will it be successful? That's the other thing. I think it will, but in doing so, I think it'll also. I think it's going to put a really damper on the theaters. It's unfortunate. Especially if more streaming networks are going to be doing this. Amazon has also done this as well. They've acquired some movies that were supposed to be in theaters, like Borat, which was pretty damn funny, by the way. So they acquired that. They acquired a few other movies that were supposed to be coming out as well that will be streaming exclusively to them. And then we have Disney Plus. The question of all this is that will it force Disney Plus' hand when it comes to releasing future Marvel movies or other movies in general? I'm thinking about Black Widow, of course, and maybe some other movies that'll be coming out soon as well. I think time will tell. You know what's funny? I think the actions of all these sites are based on the actions of each other. So you got Amazon, who acquired movies and started streaming them exclusively on their network. Then I think that possibly, and then you also have Disney, who decided to show Mulan and see how that worked by doing a premium thing. I believe that didn't work as good as they wanted it to be, unfortunately. Because a lot of that could be because of COVID. A lot of it could be lack of promotion and hype or whatever like that. But, it just wasn't. I don't believe it really was as successful box office wise as they would like it, would they have liked it to been. Like everybody wants that Marvel budget. And during these times, it's going to be hard to see if anybody gets that Marvel budget, that Marvel box office, record. I really doubt it at this time. Like, Marvel probably has made the most success during pre-COVID times, but we're in COVID times now, so I don't see that's happening. And they got to change up with the times, unfortunately. We don't know when this vaccine's coming, and even when it does, it's going to take time for everybody to get it. It's going to be a slow process. So it's going to be interesting, but as we know, Marvel and Disney has decided to postpone Black Widow, which was supposed to come out, I believe, in August, and then October, and then and then it just decided just to wait till next year. With HBO Max and Warner Brothers doing this, and they're complete rivals of both Disney and Marvel and Netflix. Is this gonna really, really force their hand to do to bring out Black Widow? And you know what? I think I'm just I'm just guessing, hypothesizing at best. My hypothesis to this is that it's going to depend on the success of Wonder Woman. You got Wonder Woman coming out on Christmas. There's nothing that we're going to be doing but, staying quarantined in the house. As hopefully we are. And watching that movie. That's a no-brainer. Everybody, that movie is going to be watched heavily on Christmas Day. That they're gonna see it. They're gonna get the data. It's gonna be shown. It's probably gonna break the damn internet that day. I guarantee you. So it's gonna be interesting. I think I have reason to believe that Wonder Woman is gonna crash HBO Max, just like Luke Cage did back then. I think we're gonna see another crash in the system due to this. So it's going to be interesting. And if that is any bit as successful, I think that could possibly put, back Disney Plus in the corner of starting to put major blockbuster movies both in theaters and in, and online, on streaming, on their network as well. So we will see, man. This is incredible. So, you know what else is incredible? I was not aware of before until I, started watching HBO Max. I did not know that. I knew that Warner Brothers came out with a bunch of, animated shows and series based on Looney Tunes. I didn't realize they came out with this show called The Looney Tunes Show, which is on HBO Max right now. And this is really kind of not like a kid's show. This is actually a more sophisticated version of the Looney Tunes characters. And basically, the basic premise of the show is that Bugs and Daffy are living together in an apartment. And they go through, a lot of sitcom humor every so often. A lot of things that you see on regular live-action sitcoms, you're actually watching. And you're actually watching it from an animated standpoint. And apparently, a lot of people didn't know about this show. It premiered in 2011, and now it's on a cartoon. I was told by people, by somebody in our ACMG Facebook group, that this show has been out on Cartoon Network for quite a while, but nobody really paid attention to it. And he's one of the rare only people to pay attention to it. You got to watch this show. I've slept on this show so bad, but watching the first episode alone and the nature of what they do in there, it's very adult based. The premise, the narrative, everything is very adult based. Seeing Daffy and Bugs do what they live a normal, sophisticated lifestyle together, and Porky Pig is the neighbor, and Yosemite Sam is the neighbor, and Elmer Fudd, apparently some rich dude or something of that nature. But in between the show, they have these little intermission moments where they do the Merry Melodies thing. It could range from music videos starring Elmer Fudd talking about grilled cheese or whatever, or Foghorn Leghorn or whatever singing a country western or whatever, and even a chicken hawk doing spitting lyrics and all this stuff. It is hilarious. If you have not watched it, one of the best things to watch on HBO Max right now from an animated standpoint is the Looney Tunes show. Go out of your way to check it out, man. It's hilarious. I was totally blown away, and I feel bad that I missed out on watching this during 2011. You know what? I do recall why I missed out on it, because during 2011, I didn't have cable. I decided not to have cable during the time. This is the time when I cut the cord and thought I was really doing something different, and then I did the math and found out that even if I get all these streaming networks, I'm still actually going to be paying the same amount as I would cutting the cord. So now I had cable back and I'm watching Cartoon Network on a regular. I think that's why, like, honestly, I really think if you remember 2011, everybody started cutting the cord because you had Netflix, you had, a lot of Netflix shows, and Hulu for that matter was like pretty much all you needed in terms of like having channels, having TV that were airing the same things that you saw on cable, and people got tired of paying those fees. So our alternative was to cut the cord. Yeah, lo and behold, when you do the math, you realize you're not really cutting the cord at all. So it is what it is. But I think during that time, maybe people have not been watching Cartoon Network as much as we wanted to, because I trust me, I missed that channel during those times. And I think that's when the Looney Tunes show was premiering and nobody was probably watching it at the time. Thank goodness this is out on HBO Max, and season 2 just released as well. So not only that, but what else that I love about the show is that it actually has a really cool art style, and it's like it's the animation, it's hand-drawn animation, but they also have this, it looks like the cells are actually in motion because they have this drop shadow, but every character that in the show has a drop shadow behind them to make it look like it's the cell animation that's happening right there. And I thought there's a cool feature. It's a really cool artistic step on that. So yeah, if you want something, if you're like an old school dude like me who watched Looney Tunes back in the day, this is the Looney Tunes that grew up with you, if that makes any sense. So go out of your way and check that out. If you want some new content to watch on HBO, definitely go out of your way to check that out. Let's move on to anime news here. So, or anime, subjects here, because Funimation, I watched that a lot. I watched that dedicatedly because a lot of the people that's been on this show are, doing voice roles in here, and I want to give my thoughts on this new Inuyasha spinoff series called Yashahime Princess Half Demon. It came out a few weeks ago or a month ago or so, and they didn't have the English cast yet. It was only in the Japanese dub. So I decided to hold off on it. I watched the first few episodes, but decided to hold off on it until the English cast come, because I knew it was coming. But I also know that things are delayed due to COVID-19 and all that stuff. So eventually it will come, and it actually has finally arrived. They finally are dubbing it in English on Funimation. So if you like the dub cast and you like everything English dub, and you don't like to read subtitles, and you're not an anime uppity type of person, it's available in English dub on Funimation, and sub as well for those who like sub. For those who like sub just for the sake of liking sub, but not to think that they're better than anybody else. Stupid ass people. I digress. The first episode, I should say, includes the original cast of Inuyasha returning to reprise the roles, including the late Kirby Morrow reprising his role as Maruku in his last and final performance. Do you guys remember? It was reported a few weeks ago that he passed away, but it recently has been said that he died due to complications of substance abuse. Added to that, this was also reported that it happened just days after his father passed away. I gotta say, first, the show is really great. The show is great so far. I like I love the new younger generation of characters in here, and I'll talk about the Kirby Morrow thing afterwards, but I love the generation of characters, including Setsuna and Toa, who are the daughters of Inuyasha, and Setsu, I always get this one, I messed up, Sesomaru, who are separated during the forest fire when they were kids. While trying to search for Setsuna, Toa fell into a mysterious tunnel that sends her to the present day, much like the portal that Kagome used to travel in. A decade later, the portal reopens, giving Toa a chance to find her sister once again. However, what Toa doesn't know here is that Setsuna has somehow lost her memory and won't recognize her sister. So this is the premise of that story right there. She actually sees her as an enemy for a time being. Setsuna also teams up with Moroha, who is the daughter of Inuyasha and Kagome. This character is very interesting and significant to our show because it is voiced by none other than a previous Talk Time Live guest, Morgan Berry, who I interviewed a while ago. She played the character 13 in My Hero Academia and amongst other characters as well. Love Live Sunshine as well, the main character in that. And she's a pivotal character in this series as well. She's the daughter of Inuyasha and Kagome. So, you can imagine that she will be a major focus in this series as well. She's pretty cool. She's pretty awesome. I really like her performances, and I really enjoyed her on the show when she was here. So the three team up to help bring back her memory and troubleshoot a dangerous threat involving 3 rainbow pearls. So, there was the jewel that they had to deal with on the original series. Now they got a whole new thing that's even more threatening than those, situations back then. So I like it so far. I really like it so far. It still gives you the essence and presence and feel of the old Inuyasha series. So I really, really dig it. If you haven't checked it out, if you have Funimation, I don't know if it's on Crunchyroll. That's interesting. I don't know if it's on Crunchyroll. If it is, it probably will be under... I don't know if it looks like it's an exclusive to Funimation, but it could be on the sub version could be on Crunchyroll. But if you have Funimation, go out of your way to check it out. It's pretty cool. But when it comes to Kirby Morrow, it's very interesting because he played Maruku in this series, but you could tell in the first episode when he's reprised his role, he sounds very different than he normally would. The rest of the cast sounds slightly different, but mostly the same for the most part. I know it's been years since they played those roles, but he sounded very different, a little bit, slightly older. I don't know what entailed to that, if the substance abuse had anything to do with the changing of his voice, because you could tell it sounded like him, but it sounded a little bit different there. I don't want to, contemplate to why it sounds different in that case, but we mentioned his passing and stuff like that, and the reasons for his passing. But I got to tell you, this is one of the reasons why I really appreciate having a lot of these, guests on my show, especially those in the acting community, in the SAG-AFTRA community, if you will. And I have them on here to let you know that aside from them doing things that you dreamed of wanting to do, that at the end of the day, they are human. These people have the same emotions, the same feelings, the same, thoughts and lives that we have. They shed the same blood. In other words, their blood doesn't shed gold. And trust me, from the stories I've heard, no, they do not shed gold a lot of times, especially when it comes to royalties, for that matter, as well. Get that conversation a lot. But man, I mean, this is the part where I gotta say, it's like their lives, they have their own trial and tribulations as well. They have their own demons. You have Brian Donovan, that was on the show, Rock Lee, who was on the show this year, talking about what the things that he was going through in his rise to him being an actor and stuff like that. You hear these stories. I remember Stephanie Shea, when she, who's the voice of Sailor Moon, and many other characters. She was on the show, and I still say she gave it to us in the most realistic way, like what really goes on during these things and what they go through and stuff like that. It was very candid, very truthful, very honest. And I really appreciate it. I appreciate any of the talent that comes on this show and really gives us an idea. It's like, yes, if you want to be this, you have to. Sometimes it's not all glamorous and glory. Sometimes you go through a lot of things going behind the scenes. It's a shame that we look at it from the outside in, thinking that it's all glorious and glamorous. And I know this too, because people tend to think, I know people have their misconceptions about what goes on to even the little things that I do. And think that it's like I'm having a glamorous, glorious life, doing what I'm doing here. No, I'd live just as much as everybody else. I just put in more effort, just like they put in more effort to do it. They work hard to have fun. We work hard to have fun here. But You know, at the end of the day, we're no different than anybody else. And they're no different than anybody else. They're in a higher status. Molly is in a higher status in a sense because she worked her ass off to get there. She still got to go through a whole bunch of crap in her life that she has to deal with. She has to pay bills. All of them have to pay bills and do all these things in her life. You never know what people are going to throwing through in their life. It's just because you're in a famous situation or a rich situation doesn't mean that you don't have problems. And I'm saying this to say, like, really appreciate what these people do to entertain you. And it's unfortunate that he passed away in such a way. And he will be remembered for all of his contributions in the anime world and the gaming world and all the, you know, acting that he's done in there. But his final performance was very interesting. It was good. It was short and sweet to some extent. You know, they weren't on air. They were on the first episode to pass on a narrative that transitioned over to the new generation. So I don't expect to see any of those characters, but so much in this series because it is a spin-off series, much like Boruto is in there as well. So like, I wouldn't rely on hearing those characters. It was just basically a passing of the torch. It's just unfortunate that like this is the last performance that we're getting to hear of Kirby Morrow, because he did a great job. He was one of the other Goku voices of Goku in Dragon Ball Z. He played this character very well, very iconically, I should say. He also was Cyclops in X-Men Generation 2, which is available on Disney Plus. You can check it out there. So it's unfortunate, you know, but if anything to come out of this is that he had a great career doing all these great characters, and rest in peace to him as well. And again, if you are an Inuyasha fan, and you're also a English dub fan, you appreciate the work of the English cast, go out of your way to check it out. It's available on Funimation right now. So, last but definitely not least, gotta talk about The Mandalorian real quick. If you thought that they couldn't follow up, which I didn't know how they were going to be able to follow up with that episode with Rosario Dawson playing Ahsoka Tano, they managed to do it. They managed to top well, I wouldn't say top it, but still, it was just as great because Boba Fett himself finally made an appearance on the show. And in fact, he actually teamed up with Mando. A lot of big developments came about this. He came, and the return of Ming-Na Wen, teaming up as I would definitely say Boba Fett's partner in this case. And it's an awesome episode. Just as awesome. I still think last week's episode was better, but this one kept the momentum of last week's episode. So you had Ming-Na Wen, coming back on the show, teaming up with Boba Fett, and to get his armor back that the Mandalorian received in a previous episode. And to do this, he said he would help protect Grogu, who unfortunately has been kidnapped by the freaking Empire, who they discover has returned. And it's just, first of all, we got to see a lot of things. We got to see a lot of things here develop. Let me see. Let me go to the Mandalorian real quick. Mandalorian. Yes. We got to see the return of Giancarlo Esposito and his character. I forgot his character's name on the show, but he'd return, and he, like I said, he's the big feature. He's also wearing Darth Vader's gear for some reason. But his Moff Gideon is the name of his character. So he's coming back. He finally got his hands on Grogu after Grogu, sent out a beacon at the destination that Ahsoka Tano told him to go to, and all of a sudden, Grogu has this. He unleashes the Force, which somebody has to have seen that. Some Jedi has to have seen that or sensed it, and now we're waiting to see who's going to be coming, because after Grogu created the beacon, it tired him. It tired him down, which gave the opportunity for these new cool-looking droids to come down, take him up to the ship. And now the Mandalorian and Boba Fett are teaming up together to get him back. Meanwhile, as Grogu is in the ship and Moff Gideon is checking him out, Grogu is using the Force in a very, very aggressive way. He's beating up stormtroopers, which, by the way, the stormtroopers came back for the first time in the entire season, so we got to see actual stormtroopers this time, and they're being massacred by Grogu as he's using the Force to slam them into walls left and right. And this is the part that, Tano was talking about in the last episode, was that she was afraid of his anger. He has such anger in him that they're hoping that he doesn't turn to the dark side with this. And that's what I believe Moff Gideon is actually aiming for here. He's looking to get him on that side because he's still fresh. He's still a half empty, half full type of character here. So we got a lot to look forward to this week, because not only do we have a team up with the Mandalorian and with Mando, and as well as Boba Fett, we also got a possible Jedi coming, a well-known possible Jedi coming. Now, here's my everybody's guessing who's the Jedi that we're going to see. Is it going to be somebody we know, or somebody, a famous actor playing a Jedi that we haven't seen before? This is, now, if I'm correct, from what I was told, this is based on the events after Jedi and before the new Force Awakens came out. So I'm wondering, could Luke Skywalker is still alive within this timeline? Could it be Mark Hamill coming in to reprise his role? It's a shot in the dark, but it's not impossible. Could it be somebody else? I mean, like, who could it possibly be? I can't think of any other Jedi that we know that's going to come in to reprise his role. It can't be any of the new Force Awakens characters, because they're not Jedis yet. None of them, Rey and all those people are them. So that's out of the loop. Who could it possibly be? We're going to find out soon enough. So I want to also talk about, like, the fact that Moff Gideon's lightsaber is like a freaking katana. It shapes as a dark, like a katana with black. Look, I want that damn thing. That was awesome as hell. So, like, I mean, just like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. did, like I said last week, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. had the episode where it was based around the Winter Soldier, and it changed everything for that show. Now, this show was already great in the first season, but I think it really picked up after last week's episode, and it's continuing to do so here. It feels like that the same thing that's happened with Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is happening here right now, and it's only going to get, each episode is only going to get bigger and bigger and bigger from this point. So, man, this show is awesome. Honestly, I was actually mad that we weren't getting any of the Marvel series first, like WandaVision and all this stuff, and The Mandalorian has picked up so much that I am okay with us waiting to get to that stuff, because, I mean, we're going to have a lot to look forward to in 2021. We need every bit of content that we're getting in 2021 after all the crap that we went through in 2020. So bring it all. I couldn't be a happier fan right now, and I have been. Due to the circumstances, I am waiting for this. I am still looking forward to this. If I'm going to be still quarantined in here, I need to be entertained. And thank you, Disney Plus. Thank you, HBO Max. And thank you, Netflix and Amazon Prime for doing such. So, and Funimation as well. I got to add those on. And Crunchyroll and Retro Crush and all those other things. So, and PlayStation and Nintendo. I digress. Folks, that will do it for what's new in the world of ACMG. We're going to take a break, come back, and review Mulan, the live-action movie that just released for everybody who subscribes to Disney+. How did that movie fare compared to the rest of them? We'll find out right after this. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Dax Xavier Josiah, the host of ACMG Presents Talk Time Live, the podcast. You want to catch up with all of our podcast shows and hear from some of the hottest names in all of anime, comics, movies, and games, such as...
This is Miley Flanagan, the voice of Naruto.
This is Stephanie Shea, the voice of Sailor Moon.
This is Ruben Langdon, voice of Ken Masters and Dante from Devil May Cry.
Hey there, this is Kyle Hebert, the voice of Ryu from Street Fighter V.
This is Chris Battle, character designer of Teen Titans Go.
Here's your chance to check out all of that and more on TalkTimeLive.com. TalkTimeLive.com provides all of our ACMG content with new and previous episodes, exclusive interviews, articles, and much more. Visit TalkTimeLive.com and let us help you learn to let go, live life, and love all things ACMG.
Talk Time Live.
This is Stephanie Shea, the voice of Sailor Moon, and in the name of the moon, you are listening to ACMG Presents Talk Time Live.
Do it.
And now it's time for our talk topic of the week. Ready? Wait!
Folks, we are back with our talk topic of the week, and it is my review of Disney's Mulan, the live-action version that is based around the animated feature that came out long ago. I've watched every live-action version of the animated Disney movies that they come out with, except for Beauty and the Beast. I watched Jungle Book, which I thought was really good. I watched Lion King, which was okay. Aladdin, I just couldn't get down with. But none of them had that really cool feel that this movie had. I thought that, in my opinion, this was the best of the bunch that they've come out with. And it's unfortunate, ironically, that this didn't come out with a lot more anticipation for it because of COVID and everything. They didn't even get a chance to hype it up as greatly as they could have had we had this in theaters completely for people to see. But they decided to come out with this in theaters. And I think they did come out with this in theaters, but also on Disney Plus as well for a premium fee. But then they released it, and now that we got a chance to see it, and I think the reason for this movie is the reason why I think HBO Max has done what they did. So, that's just my theory and hypothesis on that. Doesn't make it true, but I absolutely enjoyed this movie. I loved what they did. It was beautifully done. I love the cast. I love the sceneries. I love that it's an all Asian cast. Of course, they had to. In a sense, this is technically their Black Panther. In a sense, or you had to have this type of representation in here, beautifully represented by some of the legendary actors that we've seen throughout the years. And this was like a paying homage type of movie, much like Black Panther was with the Black community. And I thought it was beautiful. I thought they did a great job. Every portrayal was great in here. We have some of the best and brightest in here to the most legendary. Liu Yifei, who plays Mulan in here, I thought she did a great job playing the strong, ambitious, and empowering warrior in here, trying to prove that she is worth every bit as good as every guy in here to be a warrior and soldier. She didn't want to be the prim and proper, wife being casted off, she had more to offer. And you know what I love about this movie is that it's not just about empowering women. It definitely is a message that women can be just as powerful as men, but this is kind of universal in the sense that it can also be that it could be inspiring to everybody, not just, women in general, but it could also be inspiring to anybody who felt like they were devalued. And I that's what I got from that. I admired this movie, and I love her portrayal in here as Mulan, because I thought she did a great job here. I knew there was a lot of, controversy over her because she was supporting Hong Kong police and all that stuff back then, but hopefully that has died down, and hopefully she explained herself in a way that people understand or whatever. But it is unfortunate, and hopefully that I don't know if that had anything to do with whatever sales or whatever they didn't get from this movie, but I thought she did a great job with it. I thought she was great. I thought Jet Li as Emperor of China was awesome. Great to see him, because there was all these rumors of where's Jet Li been all this time, and people have seen pictures a few years back seeing him as a withered away looking guy, but he looked very healthy. He looked very on point here. It's great to see him on here. Zima, who played Ha Zhu, who's also Mulan's father. I've seen this guy play in so many great movies throughout the years. It was great to see him there. I loved him as her father, who not only was her father, but he played a father who, even though he didn't have a son, he still loved his kids any other way. You see a lot of movies where you have these chauvinistic fathers who wanted a son so badly that they would treat their kid unfairly, their daughter unfairly in this case. And in this case, it was a different pace. It was a change of pace to see that a father actually not only embraced his daughters and loved his daughters equally, but also really supported Mulan in her way. But, you know, due to the times, he couldn't really do it because he had to be a man. And a man back then, still somewhat to this day, you know, has to be the breadwinner, has to be the soldier. Unfortunately, he couldn't because he's been injured in war. He's a war hero. And, you know, he didn't have any daughters. I mean, he didn't have any sons that can go into battle, so he had to volunteer himself. This is where Mulan wanted to, you know, she didn't want him to go because it was instant death for him. He couldn't be in the battlefield in this case. So she stole his gear and went and pretended to be a, you know, soldier recruiting for battle. Here's my thing. This is the part that I thought was funny. And this is the part I thought was funny about the original animated series too. Regardless, she has feminine features. I don't understand how people couldn't see that. Like, I instantly would have seen her. Like, are people back then that naive they didn't recognize her, like her voice or her features or anything? I mean, granted, she's like, she put on wrappings to cover, you know, her body, her chest and everything. But how could you not know that was a female? I thought that was really interesting. But that it was what it was. Then you had Donnie Yen playing as Commander Tung, who Donnie Yen is just, I don't think Donnie Yen gets enough credit. Like, I feel like he's in a list of martial artists. Donnie Yen always gets third to Jet Li, or fourth to Jet Li, Jackie Chan, and then Bruce Lee. I think he doesn't get enough credit. The dude is badass. Like, if you watch Into the Badlands, man, was he no joke on that movie. I mean, it was in that series. Like, that series was awesome. It's a shame that it got canceled. It got his feet cut off before the time comes. But that was an awesome show that he was in, and all the movies that he's in, Ip Man and all that stuff. So, you know, he's awesome. Then you got Jason Scott Lee, who I haven't seen since Dragon. If you guys remember, Jason Scott Lee played in the biopic for Bruce Lee, which I look back at that like a while ago, like years ago, and that movie is actually still pretty good. I don't think people took it as seriously as it did, but he did a great job in that movie. He also did play in the Jungle Book too, if I remember correctly, the other live action Jungle Book movie that came out a while back. But Jason Scott Lee did a great job. He actually played the bad guy this time. He played Bori Khan in here as well, and those were the ones who stood out to me as far as performances. There were other great performances in here, but those were the standouts as well. And then, to top it off, Ming-Na Wen, our Agent May, makes an appearance in the show, a cameo appearance in the movie, because if you guys don't know, she was the voice of the original Mulan in the animated movie. So that was like a really cool moment, passing of the torch type of moment in here. I really enjoyed it. Overall, just a great movie. I had the Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon vibes from this because it was not just about martial arts or anything. There was an actual great narrative that followed along with it. So the action kind of took somewhat of a backseat in this, and so that the narrative and the character development can go in, and that's what Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. And when the time came, the action came, and the action was great. And this did the same thing. Now, do I think it's better than Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon? No. Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon was a great movie, a absolute great movie in all sense. It was an Oscar-winning movie at that, or Oscar-nominated in a movie. I believe it won an Oscar as well, but that movie was so phenomenal. This was in that realm in terms of storytelling and character development, but not there. I don't want to compare it and say that like it was just. This is really good. This is good in compared to other live action Disney movies, but that movie was still another level right there. Then there's also the part here that I still question. You know, the original Mulan animated movie had a dragon voiced by Eddie Murphy, if I'm correct. And in this one, they decided to make it a little bit more serious, but symbolic in a way. They didn't have the dragon, or even a talking dragon. In its place was a phoenix, because there was the theme in a message here to rise like the phoenix in here, and that was being told all throughout. And there was a phoenix, a beautiful CGI phoenix being shown around. Now, I didn't mind the fact that this phoenix did not talk, but it always came around during the right times when Mulan needed. The problem here is that the movie does not explain whether people can actually see it or Mulan can actually see it. They never really acknowledged it at all. And I didn't quite get whether it was actually a symbolic type of visual that we were supposed to be seeing in reference to what was going on or not. And what makes it so confusing is because we're comparing this is supposed to be a reboot version of the animated series, and we had a talking, dragon that teamed up with her, that fought alongside with her. This Phoenix just flew around everywhere during certain times of the movie, but it never did anything else other than that. And I think that's where it kind of got confusing to me, because I wanted to know if this was an actual character itself. No, it just seems like it was like some form of visual, symbolic type of thing that was going on through the movie to, go based on the philosophy that was, being told in the story. So that was the only thing that really bugged me about the movie. But other than that, this movie, I could totally watch this movie again. I could really enjoy this, and if I were you, I would definitely go out of your way to check it out. All the comments that I heard or read online, I should say, have been all positive. People really, really enjoyed this film, and I think you will enjoy it too. If you haven't seen it, if you've been hesitant or skeptical about checking it out, and you have Disney Plus, go out of your way to check it out. I mean, first of all, it's on Disney Plus. That means you've already paid for it on a monthly basis. What's it going to hurt? And I think you will absolutely enjoy it overall. I think this was, to me, in my opinion, this was their best movie to date. And I don't know what they're going to come out with next that is going to match up to this. But they did a great job trying to, this is, I think, when it comes to executing the live action film, because basically they're doing the Marvel Cinematic Universe thing here by bringing all these, animated features to life like they did with the comics. I don't think they did it as successful as Marvel has done it, but you get some hits and misses every once in a while. This is definitely, to me, a hit, and it's because of that I give it a grade of an A. Like, overall, I really enjoyed it. I can watch it many times afterwards, and there's something to be very much inspired in this movie, especially if you are a female, looking for a role model type of character to look at, or if you're just a person who wants to be inspired by a character who is strong and empowering and is not willing to give up and be devalued and wants to show their worth to the world. Mulan, this movie is definitely the movie for you. So that'll do it, folks. This has been a really fun episode of Talk Time Live here. Go out of your way to check out all of our episodes on Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, Podbean, and Amazon Music, as well as TalkTimeLive.com. I want to thank all of our listeners here to check out this and every episode that we have. This week on Select Start, the Game Awards is coming this week. There's so much happening this week in the world of games. The Game Awards is coming out. Cyberpunk 2077 is coming out. You see the commercials out now with Keanu Reeves advertising it. And I am looking forward to all of it. As well. As well as all of the new games that I've had. I'm going to have weeks and weeks of reviews coming now, because I also, in addition to getting Cyberpunk and Yakuza like a Dragon, I have also acquired just recently Judgment, which is also a spinoff to Yakuza, and Shenmue 3, which is available on the PlayStation Network for only $17.99. I couldn't beat that. I had to jump at it. So I'm going to give my opinion on that very soon, because I heard mixed reviews about it. So finally going to end my journey with Land D on that note. So stay tuned for that. We're going to have a Game Awards highlight show this week. That's all we're going to be talking about this week on Select Start. And next week, we're going to just continue it from there. But again, as we come down to it, there's going to be less episodes. And then I'm going to have a break because it's, Christmas week. I think I'm going to just break completely from here. So, and get ready for the new year. We're going to do our year-end awards as well. So stay tuned for that and much, much more. So folks, thank you again for taking the time to check us out. And I hope you continue to do so. So that'll do it for me. On behalf of myself, this is Dax Xavier Josiah saying learn to let go, live life, and love all things anime, comics, movies, and games. This is ACMG Presents Talk Time Live. I am out of here. Take care and have a great and safe week, people. Music for this episode is provided by Game Chops. Check out these great chiptune tracks and more at music.gamechops.com.